Well, the game of football has taught me so many things, man. Now, think about the huddle we have right now, right? I tell people this all the time. There's a reason why they call it a huddle. You know, people have been huddling all their lives, trying to find ways to enhance each other's lives. The great teams do that all the time. The great teams do that. The better the huddle, the better the team. And so it's simple, man, how if you huddle for all the right reasons, we wouldn't have Ferguson. We wouldn't have some of the challenges that we have in our society. But as we all know, there's always a moment when somebody doesn't belong in the huddle. And yet we have to continue to move on. We got to continue to play. So the game of life, man, is always starting with the huddle. And for me, I'm lucky enough to know that, you know, by the graces of God, man, it's been a nice huddle. It's been a nice huddle. And if I just keep making sure that he's in front of me, I'm gonna be all right.
Welcome to FootballGamePlan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our preview of the 2016 Dollar General Bowl between the Ohio Bobcats and the Troy Trojans. Now let's start this video off by taking a look at some keys to victory. Starting with the Ohio Bobcats in this ball game, I think it's about staying ahead of the chains on offense. This is an offense that is not an explosive offense per se. They're a death by 1,000 cuts type of an offense. They can run the football well. They operate their short to intermediate passing game exceptionally well. And if they can stay ahead of the chains, it'll slowly wear down this Troy Trojans defense. And defensively, with their defensive line, it's about getting after quarterback Brandon Silvers. This is a matchup that I think the Ohio Bobcats can definitely exploit. I love what they have across the board with their defensive front. They're versatile and they're active, and they have to make sure to disrupt the timing of the passing game. And on offense, it's about owning the line of scrimmage. They're also facing a very good defensive line in the Troy Trojans, and if they can't own that line of scrimmage, their passing game will suffer. Their running game won't be as effective. And like I said before, this is not an explosive offense. They need to have some success early on in the down and distance if they want to have some success. And for the Troy Trojans in this ball game, gap sound defensive play versus the run is going to be huge. Like I've said before, this is not a big play offense, but their big plays usually come from their ground game, and it's because teams tend to be out of position and get over aggressive in their rush responsibilities. So you have to be gap sound if you want to stop the Bobcats' rushing attack. And also they have to win inside the red zone. Offensively speaking, this is where the Ohio Bobcats tend to struggle inside the red zone. So if you're Troy, you can get extra aggressive in what you want to do defensively inside the 20-yard line to force threes and not allow sevens. And I think offensively, it's about winning one-on-one on the perimeter. I think Ohio does a great job in making plays in space defensively. And if Troy is going to win this ball game, they're going to have to win those one-on-one battles outside in the passing game, outside in the running game against this very tough back seven of the Ohio Bobcats. And the biggest X factor in this game for Ohio, in my opinion, is quarterback Greg Windham and his passing. I like what I saw in the MAC championship game. Yes, he had the game-clinching interception, but when he was inserted back into the lineup as a starter, this guy did a great job moving that offense down the field with the passing game. He brought balance to this offensive attack, and I think he's going to have to play an excellent game, an efficient game, in order for the Bobcats to win. For the Troy Trojans, the biggest X factor will be the play of their offensive line. This is a best versus best, strength versus strength matchup here. Antonio Garcia and that offensive line of the Trojans going up against Terrell Basham and that defensive line of the Ohio Bobcats. Troy can't have an off day versus this Bobcats defensive front. They've been excellent all season long, one of the best offensive lines in the Sun Belt Conference. And if they can win up front, they can win this game. Here's a look at some of the 2017 NFL draft prospects you want to watch for in this ball game. Like I said before, strength versus strength, best versus best offensive line, defensive line. Terrell Basham, Casey Sales for Ohio. Basham is a guy that I think can play anywhere along the defensive line, and Sales does a great job, a quick penetrating interior defensive lineman. Antonio Garcia at 6'6", 302, one of the best offensive line prospects in the country. And keep an eye on Jaelyn Roundtree. I'm a big fan of his game. Ignore the size at 5'11", 180. He has the skills, he has the ball skills, and the instincts to excel at the next level. I like Troy in this ball game. I think their defense will come ready to play and get those early stops against the Bobcats offense. Brandon Silvers and company offensively will do their part in pushing the pace and tempo of this game, and I think this one will be close first and second quarter, but in that second half, by the defense being on the field a lot for the Bobcats, I think that's when you'll start to see this offense of Troy start to pull away.